The latest Guild Wars 2 expansion, Secrets of the Obscure, is dropping this week, so it is time to go through everything we know and bask in all the new features that we get to play with. Welcome back everyone, it is an exciting week that we have lined up. Secrets of the Obscure is dropping tomorrow, the hype train is in full effect, so let's take a look at everything that has been announced so we can see what the foreseeable future of Guild Wars 2 looks like for all of us. First up, Secrets of the Obscure, what is happening? After End of Dragons, we are officially done with the End of Dragons story, which has been a long time coming. I am very excited to see where we go from here. The Wizard's Tower floating above Garenhof, which has been a big old mystery ever since the game launched, has disappeared. And the entire town is now completely scuffed. We also have the absolutely adorable race of creatures, the Cryptus, coming out of the mist, who I am sure come with nothing but good intentions. On top of that, we also have the Wizard's Court and the Astral Ward, who have apparently been looking out for Tyria for the past 1,000 years, finally revealing themselves to us, as the adorable Cryptus are now everyone's problem. Personally, I'm very excited to see where the story can go now that we have finished with the Elder Dragon story. They have all been bopped on the head, and now it feels as though we have a whole wealth of stories that ArenaNet can finally touch on, given that we are no longer bound by having to deal with one Elder Dragon after the other. A lot of my favourite content in Guild Wars 2 has been outside the Elder Dragon story. The story in Raids is absolutely amazing. There are so many wonderful side stories out there, so I am very keen to see where the story can go from here. In terms of new locations, we have a fairly small selection of maps at launch. We have the Skywatch Archipelago and the new city of Amnetis. Looking through the fly-throughs of each of these, we can see that Skywatch Archipelago seems to basically be an amalgamation of areas from all different parts of the game. We have sections from what appears to be Path of Fire, we have what appears to be an excerpt from New Kaineng. It appears to be some amalgamation of all different maps, not too dissimilar at all to the map of Dragonfall from Living World Season 4, which was basically just an amalgamation of different areas in the Mists. So I'm curious to see how this map came to be, why it is how it is, but either way, this map looks amazing. Next up, we have the City of Amnetis, which looks absolutely incredible. The fly-through of this map looks absolutely beautiful and is really giving me some Anor Londo from Dark Souls vibes, which I am all here for. I am very excited to explore this map, and given that it also appears to have an abundance of ley lines and updrafts that we can take advantage of with some of our new mount masteries, which I will touch on shortly, this is going to be a treat to explore. We've been told that we do have a third explorable map coming in a future update, so I'm keen to see what that looks like. But until then, we have Skywatch Archipelago and Amnetis to enjoy. One thing I am very hopeful for is that because they are only focusing on 2 maps now, rather than 4 like they did in End of Dragons, hopefully these 2 maps can feel more alive and populated. As awesome as the geography and the architecture in New Kaineng is, it honestly feels very sparse. So hopefully, given they are only focusing on 2 maps, they can feel a bit more lived in, a bit more lively, and a little bit more immersive. Either way, I'm very keen. Next up, we have the Wizard's Vault, which is effectively replacing our current login and daily system. As someone who does have a number of alt accounts, this change does impact me quite significantly. However, I quite like how this looks. The current daily login reward system has been with us for quite some time now and has been in dire need of an update. One of the biggest issues I've seen in Guild Wars 2 is that it does not actually do a fantastic job at guiding you through different areas of the game in terms of what content you should be doing at any point. So with it giving you some new tasks to complete, either daily, weekly, or whatever this special category ends up being, it looks as though we're going to get a bit more direction, and hopefully it makes engaging in these other areas of the game a bit more rewarding. Because currently the daily chests for going completing a jumping puzzle or going and dealing with a bounty, going into PvP, they're not insanely rewarding. They're not bad, but particularly a lot of the old PvE ones do need a bit of a rework. So having this additional structure, I am all here for. So not only that, with the new currency we earn by completing these different tasks, Astral Acclaim, we can go through and buy specific items across the Wizard's Vault shop, which is good because now it looks like you can customize what rewards you are going for which I am very keen for, because currently the daily login rewards, it is a set structure every 28 days, and more or less I basically use it for laurels on my alt accounts or to get some extra mystic clovers on my main. There's not really any choice with it really, so being able to go through and pick specific items that we want to get, I'm very excited for. One thing I really like about this reward system is that even though the rewards will rotate somewhat periodically, once they are no longer in the current rotation, they just seem to be moved to a legacy section where you can still buy them, but maybe for a increased price. So at least this way, if you do want to take a break from the game, you aren't going to miss out. You'll still be able to get the rewards that you missed out on whenever you come back to the game, which the fact that this game is so amicable for players being able to take breaks is one of the big things that I enjoy about it. And another nice touch, there is no premium tier of the Wizard's Vault that can be purchased for gems or real money, so a very nice touch in ensuring that this game is not pay to win, which in today's day and age is a wonderful touch. So for the first round of cosmetic rewards, we seem to be able to get the Enchanted Owl Griffin skin, a new weapon skin collection, and 3 unique armor pieces. Having more mount skins being made available outside of the gem store is a fantastic touch and something that I think should have been done some time ago. But here we are now, we've got it. Let's be happy. I'm currently very close to the end of getting every one of my items legendary on my main account, so I'm a big legendary enjoyer. This point's exciting. So it looks like we can also get a legendary starter kit, which will basically be a way to turn our login rewards into progress towards a specific legendary. Any way to make the acquisition of legendaries more upfront and simpler for new players, because this is one of the biggest endgame goals that we currently have in Guild Wars 2. So having people being able to jump straight on that system and giving them a little bit of nudge in that direction, I think goes a long way towards giving people some long-term goals in the game. I like this a lot. Another very nice thing is that we seem to be able to customize this, so we can give the Wizard's Vault a bit more of a focus on either PvE, World versus World, or PvP. So being able to tailor this to our own preferences, I think is brilliant. I'm personally a big PvE enjoyer with a little bit of World versus World thrown in on the side, so if I can tailor it so it's a bit less of a focus on PvP for me, honestly, I'm very happy with that. Another thing I like about the system is that it can easily be expanded on in the future, so ArenaNet can just go through, add in some extra dailies or weeklies for underplayed areas of the game to entice more people to play those areas and make them more rewarding at the same time. Because currently we have things like Fractals of the Mists in PvE, which is obscenely rewarding in terms of liquid gold, and we compare that to, say, doing another clear of raids after you've already completed your weekly raid clear, which is not rewarding at all. So this is a nice little lever they could go through and pull to make different areas of the game more rewarding, because at the end of the day, players tend to be driven by rewards. So hey, this is a nice thing. I'm happy for it. As a big Guild Wars 2 build guide enjoyer, one of the things that I am the most excited for is Weapon Master training coming at Secrets of the Obscure launch. So here, all of the elite specialization weapons are being made available wholesale across your class. So for my main Revenant, we get Shield, Greatsword, and Shortbow that can now be used on every Revenant elite specialization. So this means Herald now gets access to Greatsword, which is just a straight upgrade over Dual Sword. So bam, Herald, I have raved about how good this build is for ages. It now gets even better. From what I have seen, there are some really spicy edge cases popping up with things like Soul Beast getting the Untamed Hammer being absolutely busted. We've seen Elementalist with Sword and Warhorn doing absolutely insane levels of damage, and there are going to be a lot of builds being enabled by this change. It is also a bit of a Pandora's box in terms of balancing on ArenaNet's part, because having the elite specialization weapons locked off to each individual elite specialization was a very handy balancing tool, because say if you had Vindicator, which was underperforming, and you had Herald, which was massively overperforming, which it kind of is at the moment, you could simply buff up the skills on Greatsword, bring Vindicator up a notch, and you wouldn't have to touch Herald at all. But now, given that Greatsword is just a buff to Herald in every way, you buff up Greatsword to make Vindicator more powerful, you've now brought up Herald. So now a lever that ArenaNet had to go through and balance the game, they no longer have access to. and there are a lot of crazy builds that the community has already come up with. So it's going to be interesting to see how this gets balanced. I think this is going to take quite a few balance patches before this is brought in line. But either way, this is going to be very exciting, and a lot of our build guides are going to have to be updated, so fun times. And for a future update as well, not coming with the launch, but will be at some point down the track, each new class is getting access to a new weapon. So instead of getting a new elite specialization and a new weapon has just been given to the class wholesale. And with weapon master training that we spoke about previously, every elite spec will be able to get this. So for now, we have the Guardian getting dual pistol in the main hand and offhand. Amazing. Revenant is getting scepter. Warrior is getting staff. I hear a lot of warrior mains hoping and praying for a support weapon, so hey, prayers may be answered. Engineer gets shortbow. Ranger gets mace in both main hand and offhand. The Thief will get axe in the main hand. Elementalist only gets pistol in the main hand. Mesmer gets rifle, and Necromancer will get sword in the main and the offhand. It is interesting to see some classes getting these new weapons in both main and offhand, because now they are effectively getting access to more skills than the others. So I'm curious to see why Arena has decided to do it like that. But hey, new toys for us to play with. Personally, I'm very excited for Mesmer Rifle. I don't have many classes that can use the Predator skin, so having another one is great. Necromancer getting dual swords. I am a huge dual swords enjoyer. 2 legendaries, I have Bolt and Shining Blades. That is going to look smashing. And Guardian getting dual pistol. I am very keen for that. We'll have to hold fire and wait for this for a little bit, but don't worry, this will come. Now for some news on mounts. The Raptor and the Skyscale are both getting some new acquisition methods. It looks as though the Raptor will just be made available straight away, or at the very least very soon as you get into the expansion, which is very good to see. Always good to give players a taste of the amazing mount system in the game. The thing I'm most excited for is having a new acquisition method for Skyscale. Currently, I have 3 accounts that I play regularly, and I have Skyscale across 2 of them. I've held off getting Skyscale on my 3rd account because I do not fancy doing the Living World Season 4 collection for Skyscale for a 3rd time. It takes ages. So having this be made simpler and easier to obtain is a fantastic touch. Honestly, the Skyscale is such an amazing quality of life feature, it could sell an expansion entirely by itself. So having both Skyscale and Griffin for that matter being hidden behind, well in terms of Griffin, the end of Path of Fire and a reasonably lengthy collection, and Skyscale hidden behind a really big collection, is honestly a bit of a marketing problem, because Guild Wars 2 has some of the best flying mounts in any game, so having these be made very hard to get for new players is a little bit rough, so having this be made easier is brilliant. I'm happy. We are also getting access to some new Skyscale masteries, which will just improve it. I am very keen. So first up, we have Air Rescue 2.0, which will just give you access to Air Rescue, which will basically allow you to mount and dismount your Skyscale in midair. Fantastic, great quality of life. And if you already have access to this mastery from the Path of Fire track, you'll also get Bond of Vigor when you mount and dismount your Skyscale in midair, which will just increase your mount's endurance regeneration, which does make moving through the world much easier and much more fluid, so just a nice little bonus. We'll be getting Fireball, which will be an aerial flame attack we can use when we are mounted on our Skyscale. Wallspring 2.0, similar to Air Rescue 2.0, you get access to wall launch, allowing you to cling to and jump off walls, and if you have it from both tracks, you can now charge it faster and launch further. Very nice. Very exciting, Wind Beneath Your Wings. Flying mounts can use updrafts. This is going to be amazing. Imagine soaring through Verdant Brink with all its massive updrafts and its giant canyons. This is going to be good. Here we have Guild Wars 2 doubling down on its amazing movement system. I am very happy for this. Number 5, combat launch can mount our Skyscale in combat. Brilliant. This is just a nice quality of life feature, because currently you have to get out of combat if you want to get on any of your mounts, which is a bit annoying. And as a side note, this is especially annoying whenever I play Necromancer with a handful of minions, because the minions will always get me in combat, and it makes it very hard to actually get on my mount, so this is just nice. Next up, we have Ley Line, and it looks as though this will let our mounts use ley lines, which again, very similar to updrafts, very cool. Making it easier to move through the world is a good thing. Last up, we have Rising Spirits. Updrafts will regenerate the Skyscale's flight meter. Again, this will allow us to scale so much more of the world with Skyscale. It's going to make it so much more convenient to move around. The Heart of Thorns maps are going to be absolutely incredible. We also have other mastery points coming in, so we can see our mastery number go up. We will no longer be stuck on mastery level 455. First up, we have Heart of the Obscure, which allows us to close Cryptus Rifts, which we will touch on shortly. It can open special doors and chests and lets us create ley lines, among probably some other things. This seems to be very similar to a lot of mastery lines we have had in the past that are more of a Metroidvania style system where you go through, complete the masteries, and it will allow you to access other areas of the map and other rewards. Very cool. Next up, we have the Astral Ward Mastery line, and this seems to be focused around letting us go through to new bounty hunts, monster hunts, and let us go through and earn new ranks and rewards. Personally, I am very excited for this. I enjoyed the bounty system in Guild Wars 2. However, with the random anomaly system, some bounties just become insanely difficult compared to others, depending on which anomaly you end up getting. So this bounty system being given another look, another coat of paint, I am very excited for. And we can expect a new mastery line coming up in the first release. So again, mastery number go up, always a good thing. Next up for equipment, we are getting open world legendary armor, which a lot of people are very excited for. Personally, I've currently got all 3 sets of raid legendary armor, so functionally, I'm not too fussed about new set of legendary armor. However, this medium armor, smack bang in the middle here, this looks amazing. So I am definitely going to be going for this, if for nothing else than the skin alone. However, this won't be coming at launch, this will be coming in a subsequent expansion. However, we will be able to start working towards this at launch, gathering some materials and getting the things that we need so we can get a bit of a head start. Similar to how Raid Legendary Armor came out, where it took a couple raid wings for you to actually be able to fully complete it. On top of this, we're also getting some new armor skins. There will undoubtedly be armor skins that are precursors for this, so hey, new skins, more fashion wars, so many possibilities. Another big change for all the build crafters out there is the introduction of the relic system. So currently runes consist of 6 different bonuses, with the 6th one being some sort of big elite, supposedly dramatic effect. So currently one of the issues is that you may have some really cool final bonuses on rune sets, but the stats that the other runes give you don't really align with your build. So now we are going to be splitting this, so this 6th bonus is going to be reworked, put onto the relic, and then your rune is basically just going to be there for stats. This is going to have a huge impact on builds in the game. I'm very excited to see it. Now we'll have to see what these new relics look like. However, we do have a preview of some of them. We have Relic of the Zephyrite, summon crystals that apply protection and resolution to allies after using an elite skill, and this scales with the recharge of your skill that you use. So elites that have a long cooldown will get more of an effect than ones that have a very short cooldown, which is an excellent feature. Relic of the Nightmare. After using an elite skill, send forth a nightmare pulse that inflicts fear on poison on nearby allies. We have Relic of the Citadel. After using an elite skill, cool down an artillery strike on the skill target and nearest enemy that inflicts stun. We have Relic of the Crate. After using an elite skill, emit a wave of corruption that inflicts damaging conditions. A lot of these just seem to be based on the elite skill so far, but we'll see what new ones come out. Relic of Ceres. Upon using an elite skill, again summon an Eye of Ceres that emits a rotating line attack, dealing damage and converting boons into conditions. I see that as a very interesting one in World vs. World. And Relic of the Wizard's Tower. After using an elite skill, shield yourself with a projectile reflecting barrier while summoning a wave that pulls enemies towards you. That could be another spicy one in World vs. World. This opens up a whole ton of possibilities in terms of customizing and personalizing builds for different encounters, so I'm very keen to see this. Now, as someone with 7 legendary runes, unfortunately we are not getting a legendary relic on launch. This will be coming at some point in 2024. However, it does appear though that if you have gone through and crafted or do craft either 6 or 7 legendary runes, you will earn some progress towards this. So I'm curious to see what this looks like. So for the meantime, those of us with full legendary runes, we will have to engage with the relic system for some time, which just is how it is for the time being. I think very quickly we will figure out what the best runes are for each build, so we can just really focus on getting those. But for the completionists out there, it will be exciting to go through and get access to every relic. I'm curious to see if these are like individual items that can be bought and sold on the trading post, or if these are some kind of account bound unlock. Curious to see We'll find out in the next few days. Not only that, we are also getting some new strike missions being added, with 2 of them being made available on launch and with a new fractal coming sometime after launch. So first up, we are getting the Cosmic Observatory and the Temple of Phoebe. Again, I'm curious to see what these look like, and we are getting some challenge modes being made available sometime after launch. So some more challenging endgame content, which will give me something else to tuck into after we are done with Harvest Temple challenge mode. So more endgame content makes me a very happy man. And that is everything we know about Secrets of the Obscure for the time being. With the expansion launching tomorrow, it's a very exciting time to jump into Guild Wars 2. If you are thinking of jumping in, 100% recommend it. You are going to have a good time. And I'm very excited to dive into this expansion with everyone over the next few weeks. And we also have drops being made available for the next week with the Secrets of the Obscure launch. So go check out your favorite Guild Wars 2 streamer, wink wink, come hang out with us live and earn some Guild Wars 2 loot. And with that, I will see you all in the expansion. And until next time, cheers.